Any other questions then or comments from members of the committee? Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Storm, welcome back. Page 41 of the governor's discussion on the budget shows the graduation rates for CSU campuses. Have you had a chance to review that, or are you familiar with it?
Sure have, yes.
I'm wondering why they're not showing, say, the 5-year graduation rates.
Well, I think, I don't want to put words in the mouth of the administration, but I think over the last several years, the emphasis by far, from our vantage point in hearing the administration is that they've been focused very, very heavily on 4-year graduation rates. I think one of the things that is kind of challenging, and this is getting in the weeds a little bit, but you know, the federal government has established kind of a universal reporting requirement from all universities, basically saying that there is a 4-year graduation rate mile marker that they want to see, but they also want to see 6 years and less. And so those are the parameters that are, you know, comparison between universities in New York and California and Idaho and, you know, all over the place. I think one thing that we're able to do as a university is provide 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, as many years as you need. You know, generally speaking, you would have to say that CSU students are graduating within well within that 6-year time frame.
So it says in the LAO report, if DOF approves the plan, CSU would receive $25 million one time and report annually on progress toward meeting its targets. What does that mean annually? What is that for 2 years, 3, 5, 20? What does that mean?
I think you'd have to ask the Department of Finance what their intention is.
Okay, well, I thought you knew everything. I'm sorry, Mr. Stern.
I don't know everything, sir.
Department of Finance, what is the plan? And
So annual, you know, I think our intent would be that the trailer bill we've presented to you requires them to tell us the time frame by which essentially their 4-year freshman graduation rates and their 2-year transfer rates rise at least to the level of other institutions, and then the time frame by which the graduation rates for low-income students rises to the level of their non-low-income peers. And so, you know, I think at a minimum, our expectation would be that there would be some date in the future by which those conditions would be met, and until then, the CSU would report to the state on progress.
so then you're making a one-time allocation. Are you expecting them to nurse that money over a number of years, or spend it all the first year and then see what happens?
I think the one time is really a kind of an incentive for them to be more ambitious and to keep the state in the loop on this. I think one of the concerns we've expressed, you know, in response to the sustainability plans, in response to the graduation initiative and other efforts that the CSU has announced, is that their goals aren't ambitious enough. And so the one-time $25 million is an effort to keep the state involved in that conversation and to encourage this process that the CSU has already announced to think about what the state's expectations are when they're developing their plans and their goals.
So then the governor's office wanted 25 million, and now someone's saying 35 million.
Your staff is suggesting to increase that by $10 million, yes.
Okay.
And so, and for clarification, or for maybe context, we have spent in the May revision some savings associated with the middle class scholarship program, about $33.5 million. And so the 25 million figure comes from within that pot of money we've.
And I'm more comfortable with the governor's recommendation than staff, so I'll probably be opposed to this item, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Senator Morlock. Senator Allen. Okay, Chair has no further questions, so we'll move to item number 8. Item number 8, CSU Student Success Network. Begin with the LAO.
This is a governor's May proposal. It is to provide $1.1 million in ongoing funding to establish what the administration is calling a student success network. This would be, as we understand the proposal, would be a network comprised of what we would think of as various working groups, comprised of faculty, administrators, and other staff at CSU. The purpose of these working groups would be to analyze what they think are some of the underlying causes associated with low graduation rates at CSU. It would also support some research and other activities of the office that would administrate this. That office, it's really a department within Sacramento State called Ed Insights, would administer the program. Our recommendation is to, well, I think, but we don't have so much a recommendation, just a comment that I think the underlying, I think, theory behind this proposal, as we understand it, is that additional conversations among faculty and staff would help improve CSU performance, and that additional state funding is necessary to get there. I'm not sure at this time we've seen enough evidence to really see that theory, to definitively say that theory would work. But we would note that in last year's budget, the state did fully fund CSU's trustees' budget. That budget included an expenditure item of $38 million ongoing for student success. And we think this is a program that constitutes a student success initiative. And if this is a priority for the legislature and it would like to try this out, it could use funding from within CSU's base amount for that purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Department of Finance.
This is the second part of the May revision proposal related to improving outcomes for CSU students. We recognize that leaders at the campuses are in a much better position to determine the best ways to improve student outcomes in their particular context. Many of these leaders have cited a need for a dedicated space to learn from successes and challenges that other campuses experience, and to have conversations that are grounded in analysis and research. So the May revision includes the $1.1 million general fund on an ongoing basis to support the Student Success Network. The funds would be administered by the Education Insight Center at CSU Sacramento. So in the audience is Dr. Andrea Venecia, who is Executive Director of the Education Insight Center and has been convening a group planning this effort to answer more detailed questions.
Thank you. Now move to CSU.
Ryan Storm again. We're going to take a neutral position on this particular proposal. See the benefit of actually improving our student success on our campuses. We share that goal. But on the flip side, this is ongoing money that could be used to support our support budget request. And we're not particularly fond of earmarks added to our support budget.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none, we will move to public comment on these three items, and then we'll take a vote. So I'd like to thank and excuse this panel. Appreciate your comments. Members of the public, please line up at the microphone. Again, you have 1 minute. Please state your name and organization you represent today.
Good afternoon, Meredith Turner representing Cal State University students. Here today to once again state our overwhelming support for the CSU's budget request of an additional $101 million in ongoing funding to the CSU. I think we wholeheartedly agree with the Department of Finance that the CSU can be more aggressive when it comes to improving graduation rates and student success. We do believe, however, that with the ongoing additional funding, the CSU could not only improve student success, hire more advisors, hire more tenure-track faculty, but can also tackle some of our other challenges, including access to the institution itself, deferred maintenance, and the list goes on and on. So once again here today to ask you to stand with the CSU and our students and provide an additional $101 million to the CSU. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, I'm Andrea Venezia with the Education Insight Center at Sac State. Thank you very much. I want to give you a little bit of context. We used to be IHELP, the Institute for Higher Education Leadership and Policy that Nancy Shulock ran. So our new name is Ed Insights. We've been working intensively with 13 campuses across the CSU with funding from Kresge and Gilbert Foundations on this CSU Student Success Network for the past 2 years. And we know that effective networks can provide evidence and quality control, avenues for experimentation and innovation, decentralized collaboration, transparency, and shared responsibility. The community colleges have had a similar network, the Research and Planning Group of the California Community Colleges, for decades. The RP Group has been a partner and a driver in that system for reforms for many years, and they've been helping us get this initiative off the ground. So I can give you the info sheet that you have outlines the main components of the network. I'd be happy to give you some concrete examples of efforts that we have lined up to be able to launch next year. But I want to say a state investment would help support system goals around higher education attainment and send an important signal to stakeholders in the middle about their responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we've heard from all members of the public who wish to speak on these three items. Let's take them one item at a time. We'll start with issue 3, CSU, item 6. And item 6, unallocated base augmentation. Please read the staff recommendation and call the roll.
Approve modified budget bill language to 1, increase enrollment by 3,565 full-time equivalent students. 2, require CSU to provide a preliminary report to the legislature by March 15, 2017, and a final report by May 1st, 2017 on whether or not it has met the 2016-2017 enrollment goal. And 3, should the CSU not meet this goal, funds will revert to the general fund. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Please show that passing 3-0 and close the roll. Moving on now to item number 7, one-time funding for new plans to improve graduation rates.
Approve 35 million general fund and modified trailer bill language to 1, include a plan and time frame to increase 4-year and 2-year graduation rates for first-generation college students and underrepresented minority students. 2, to clarify that a comparable institution is of similar size and has similar student demographics as CSU. And 3, require CSU to adopt a policy recommendations for the CSU and the legislature to address system-wide and individual campus timeframe goals of 2-year and 4-year graduation rates to be modified as necessary, and to reject the proposal to remove the sustainability plan. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
No.
Senator Allen?
Please show that passing 2-1 and close the roll. Now we move to item number 8, CSU Student Success Network.
Approve Mayor revision to add $1.1 million to support the CSU Student Success Network. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Show that passing 3-0 and close the roll. We move now to our last issue of the day, issue in which there are 2 items. This deals with the California Student Aid Commission, so we'll ask representatives of the commission to come forward, along with representatives from the LAO and the Department of Finance. Item number 9, under issue number 4, deals with the California Student Opportunity and Access Program, CalSOAP, and we'll ask the LAO to begin.
Thanks. Paul Golozewski with the LAO again. This issue pertains to the CalSOAP program. This is not a proposal in the governor's budget or the governor's May revision. It's a legislative proposal. The CalSOAP program consists currently of 14 consortia of school districts, county offices, CSUs, various educational entities around the state that do college preparatory work for K-12 students. As I mentioned, there's currently 14 consortia. This proposal would provide funding, $340,000, of which $90,000 would be one time, to add a new consortia in the Inland Empire. Currently, there's no consortia in this area. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Move now to Finance.
The Department of Finance opposes this proposal.
Okay, and now we'll move to Student Aid Commission.
Lupita Cortez Alcala, on behalf of the California Student Aid Commission, we strongly support the staff recommendation. The Inland Empire, in particular in San Bernardino, has a high population of low-income students, first-generation students. In addition, they have low graduation rates and college attendance, as well as college FAFSA and application admission completion rates. CalSOAP intends to serve students that are currently not served in middle schools and high schools. They provide mentorships, tutoring, campus visits, college advising, and FAFSA and college application completion. Recent evaluation supports the CalSOAP program and its effectiveness. We strongly support staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from colleagues? Seeing none. I have none either. This looks pretty straightforward to me. We'll move on to our last item of the day, item 10, Under issue number 4, adjust estimates for assumption program for loans for education. Let's hear first from the LAO.
This is a May revision proposal to adjust funding for this program down by $2.1 million. Total funding remaining would be $11.8 million after accounting for this adjustment. The program provides loan repayments for teachers. The program is currently being phased out. The state stopped admitting new entrants into the program after 2011-12. However, teachers in the program can receive loan repayments for 4 years, and there can be a lag when they start receiving them. So we're still honoring the existing loan repayment commitments that we made when the state phased out the program. And really what this item is just a technical adjustment because the program's being phased out, so the funding is decreasing.
Okay, thank you. Move on to finance.
Christian Osmani with the Department of Finance. Just to reiterate, there's no policy issue that the administration's reflecting here. It's simply to adjust the amount of funding to what the cost of the program would be.
Thank you. And Student Aid Commission.
Lupita Cortez Alcala, we concur with the recommendation.
Okay, when I first saw we were reducing the Apple loan program, I was concerned because we know there's a crying need for more teachers, and we've talked about that a lot in the legislature, and was concerned why more teachers weren't taking advantage. But from what I'm hearing from you today is that the program has ended officially for new entrants. So the reason it's gone down is not a marketing issue, it's just the program is closed. Could these dollars be used to reopen that program? I mean, if there were such a policy determination?
Of course they could.
And could that be done via budget language? LAO?
If you wanted
That
to
would be finance.
reallocate the dollars to reopen the program, you could do that through budget language.
Is there any specific use being made of these dollars right now, or are they just kind of going back into the general pool?
Yeah, they're not reallocated for a specific purpose, but it's factored into the overall totals that the governor has in his May revision.
Let's move to finance.
Yeah, so to follow up on that, so the administration has spent a total amount at the May revision that's consistent with, the governor's priorities. And so, our budgeting policy for this program and for nearly all other financial aid programs is to reflect what we think the policy costs. And so I guess we would oppose, we've never had a budgeting policy where if at a given point in time there were savings compared to another point in time, we would spend those savings for something else. Alternatively, there have been times when the cost for the financial aid programs has been higher than what was budgeted at the last point in time, and the state's practice in those situations has been to add additional funding. So that it's not always kind of situations where there are savings comparing 2 points in time.
Sure. Student Aid Commission, would this be an area where you would like to see some funding?
We have a support position on the Apple program in the legislation, and this could very well be a place where we could see funding go. In addition, we have a support position on increasing competitive grants, and we have a support position on increasing the Cal Grant Beat Access Award as well.
Mm-hmm. So there's several competing uses for this funding, and it's already used for something.
We could absolutely support it going into the Apple program as well.
Okay. I'm going to ask that we hold this item open overnight, that we discuss this with the Pro Tem's office and the caucus, and see if this is a use they would like to. Again, I'd been under the assumption that this was just an underuse of the funding, not that the program had ended. If we could use this to revive the program, knowing the shortage of teachers we're facing, it might be worth looking into overnight at least, and then taking a vote only on this tomorrow. No, you won't have to be back here tomorrow for this, just a vote only. Is there an objection to that, holding this open until tomorrow for my colleagues? Seeing no objection, we will do that. So we have then one more item to vote on. I want to thank and excuse this panel. Our last item for.
I could ask you a question.
Sure.
Or maybe just, we're spending more for Cal, I'll just SOAP, than the governor recommends. Is that correct?
Well, it's being
That's number 9. You're
recommended, yes.
So it's just a little higher than what the governor's recommending.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's a $340,000 increase over the governor's budget.
And I, Mr. Chair, sort of share the governor's concern about where the economy may be going, and I'm a little more cautious. So you might see me voting no on some of these just because they're higher than what the governor has recommended. So it doesn't mean I don't agree with the program. It just means I'm having a difference on the recommendation. So
Sure, my guess in a lot of these areas where the governor, for fiscal reasons, has been conservative, are programs he would like to see if the money were available. So that's certainly understandable. Again, I want to excuse this panel. We're going to take public comment, if there is any, on item number 9 under issue number 4. That's Cal Soap. Any public comment? Please come forward.
This is more public comment on CSAC issues generally. Is that all right?
It's, you've got 1 minute to about whatever you want, but the item itself is focused on Cal Soap. Okay, no problem.
I'm Debbie Cochran with the Institute for College Access and Success. We work with a coalition of organizations around the state to improve college affordability for students from all backgrounds. What you just have in front of you is a letter that we submitted to the Senate yesterday. It pertains to one issue you've already voted on, one that's not on today's agenda. The letter requests that you respectfully that you scale back the scheduled 2016-17 appropriations for the middle class scholarship program, which has been overfunded at the same time that hundreds of thousands of low-income students in the state are going unserved or underserved by the state Cal Grant program. So because of this, our second ask is that those unspent funds be reinvested into the Cal Grant program so that the low-income students can benefit. The amount of money that's going unspent in middle-class scholarship could actually increase the number of competitive awards by about 5,700 per year, or increase the Cal Grant B Access Award by $175 per student. Both of these investments are much needed by the state, and we believe that putting them back into the Cal Grant program serves to honor the spirit in which they were originally appropriated in the middle class scholarship program to bring college within reach.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we have no further public comment today. We will move to a vote on item number 9, issue number 4. California Student Opportunity and Access Program, CalSOAP. I'll ask staff to read the recommendation and call the roll.
Adopt modified budget bill language to provide $340,000 to create a CalSOAP consortium in the Inland Empire, of which $90,000 is one time for a planning grant. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock? Senator Allen?
Please show that passing 2-1. With that, and close the roll. With that, are there any further items of business for today's meeting? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.